Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. In Proverbs chapter 26, verses 13 through 16, it says, "The sluggard says, 'There's a lion in the road. A lion is in the open square. As a door turns on its hinges, so does the sluggard on his bed. The sluggard buries his hand in the dish. He is weary of bringing it to his mouth again. The sluggard is wiser in his own eyes than 7 men who can give a discreet answer." So, a lot of observations about the sluggard here in Proverbs chapter 26, and it talks about how all of these things really result in inactivity. The sluggard, the lazy person, doesn't accomplish anything, and there's several reasons that are given in these verses, and each one of these verses give a reason why they don't accomplish anything. For one, the sluggard imagines danger that's not really there. He says there's a lion in the road, a lion in the open square, making an excuse basically for not getting out and going to work. He says, well, there's a lion in the square. It's too dangerous to go out there. And so he remains inactive. Oversleeping is mentioned. It says, like a door turns on its hinges, so does the sluggard turns around on his bed, tossing and turning on the bed, not getting out of bed, oversleeping. That's brought out in verse 14. He's inactive because he's easily wearied, or another way to translate that is grieved. In other words, he puts his hand in the dish and it just wearies him to think about having to actually lift his hand up to feed himself. He's inactive because he thinks inactivity is the wiser thing. As we read, it said, the sluggard is wiser in his own eyes than 7 men who can give a discreet answer. Maybe you've known people like this who are perhaps lazy or slothful, and they think that that's the wise pathway to take. They think that they're outsmarting everybody else because everyone else is working so hard, and they're getting away with not working so hard. And so they think that not being active is the smarter way to go. And so for these different reasons, the sluggard remains inactive because they imagine danger, they oversleep, they're easily wearied, and they think that inactivity is the wiser choice. And therefore, it leads to the sluggard staying in his own house, remaining in his own bed, and keeping his hands in the dish. So again, not anything getting accomplished. He just stays at his house, he stays in his bed, and he can't even eat because his hand stays buried in the dish. Now, when we think about it in this physical sense, in a very practical sense here, it becomes very easy to see how wrong this sluggard is in the way that he's approaching life. But it could be the case that sometimes we become like the sluggard, not so much in not wanting to work or not wanting to get anything done on our to-do list or something like that, but maybe in connection to the spiritual life. It might be that the same reasons that this sluggard was inactive found in the book of Proverbs is the same reason that we are inactive when it comes to the work for the kingdom. Maybe we too, like the sluggard, imagine dangers that could or could not actually be real. Maybe when thinking about sharing the gospel with someone, we just imagine the worst and think, well, if I share with them my faith, then they're not going to be my friend anymore, and this, that, and the other. Or if I try to help this person out, it's going to maybe put me in a financial bind, or I won't be able to get this done because of this. And we can just come up with a lot of excuses and imagine a lot of unfavorable situations that might come out of helping another person or doing the service of the kingdom, and therefore we remain inactive. Oversleeping could be one of the reasons why we remain inactive. That is, spiritually, we're just asleep. We're so busy about the things of the world. We're so busy about our own little activities that we get going on, and we don't really tend to the spirit. We don't really, tend to spiritual things, and therefore we become sleepy, spiritual, and so our eyes aren't open to opportunities of service because we're asleep. Maybe we become easily wearied, like the sluggard here, who's like, oh, it's just a grievous thing to have to actually lift my hand up from the dish to eat this food. Maybe we're like that sometimes when we go to work for the Lord. We might think that everything is just so grievous and so hard and so difficult. And we have this mindset that anything that we do, we get easily wearied, we get tired out unreasonably. Uh, and so we remain inactive. We just get wearied by doing the work of the Lord. And then also we might think that, well, not getting involved in this activity or that activity, we might feel as though we're the wiser person, because if things go wrong, if other people become active and things go wrong, then we can sit back and say, well, yeah, I knew that wasn't going to work, or yeah, I tried that before, it didn't work. I knew this would happen all along. We might try to take the high ground intellectually by not getting involved, actually rolling up our sleeves and getting involved and getting about the messy work of doing the work of the kingdom. So these are some reasons that maybe we are inactive spiritually when it comes to working in the vineyard of the Lord. We imagine dangers that aren't necessarily there. We are sleeping spiritually. We become easily wearied when it comes to the work of the Lord. And we maybe take the intellectual high ground in thinking that getting too involved in spiritual things is illogical or silly or something like that. So hopefully none of us here fall into the trap of these things, but if we do, it ought to be that we correct ourselves, recognize that perhaps we're in line with the sluggard, spiritually speaking, and maybe we can make the proper corrections and say, you know what, I want to be active. I want to do the work of the Lord. I want to be connected to him and the activity that he's involved in on this earth. And I don't want to make excuses. I don't want to be sleepy. I don't want to be easily wearied or think myself too good to go out and help. I want to actually be involved, and I want to be working with the Lord as he's being active on this earth. So let's take these Proverbs to heart as we think about these in a spiritual sense. And these are some things we can reflect on as we do our reading today. And with that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.